Welcome to the Saturday Night Live Afterparty. This week we'll be discussing Season 47, Episode 11 of SNL with host Will Forte and musical guest Måneskin. I'm Catherine Coleman, and this week we have a stacked cast. I'm joined by Steve Finn, Charlotte O'Trimba, and Canadian stand-up comedian Ryan Dillon. If you'd like to connect with Ryan, you can do so at The Ryan Dillon. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can do so at snlpodcast.com. Enjoy these selected highlights from this week's discussion. And if you'd like to watch our full-length, ad-free sketch-by-sketch review, you can find it exclusively at patreon.com/snlpodcast. It's our supporters that make this show possible, and we are so thankful for everyone who's already come on board. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. We have a big episode to cover a big episode. Everyone I talked to in the SNL Afterparty cinematic universe was so excited about Will Forte. They were all begging me to be on. And I'm a person incapable of saying no. I'm a pushover. So we have 4 people here. And 2 of them you know, 1 of them you don't. So let's welcome the 2 that are old news. Charlotte, Steve, great to have you.
Hello.
Woo!
Thanks.
Welcome back, Charlotte.
Great. Heckin' intro.
Appreciate it. I did sort of elbow my way in to today's episode. So.
Look, it's okay. It's an exciting episode.
We're glad you elbowed.
Is here. I'm genuinely glad you're both here. I think this is going to be a good time. Charlotte, congratulations. You got engaged since you were last on the show.
Indeed.
She's
growing up. Look at her. It's me.
Look at her go.
Look at her go.
And now, of course, we don't want to leave our guest out too long, so we do have a 4th person here.
Yes, don't worry.
But Steve, this is your friend. You came to me. You said, I got this guy. He'd be great on the show.
That's right.
Can we make it happen? And I said, of course. So, Steve,
and
take it away. Introduce our friend.
This fella, Ryan, he's the guy that I was talking about. So nobody worry. He's here with me. Ryan is great.
I love when Steve talks about me. This is the best. This guy, he's great.
I got a guy.
Ryan. I've been aware of Ryan for so long. I've been such a fan of his comedy. He's done some amazing things. I've recently had him on Weekend AM for a segment on CBC. And yeah, the guy is just so fascinating. We go into the booth to record what's meant to be a 5 to 7 minute piece for the radio, and we end up talking for like 25 minutes.
I love talking to you. It's always it was a really good time. That was a great interview. I don't even know what we were promoting, but I was just like, Steve's the best.
We were just promoting our lovely friendship and chemistry, and I'll do that all day.
CBC Newfoundland radio. Today we're going to talk about Ryan and Steve's friendship, and let me tell you, it's evolved.
That's the story of the day. Yeah, man. But Ryan, I've been wanting to have you on for a long ass time, and
yeah, we talked about it before. Because we were talking about, I don't know if it was it wasn't the most recent interview, but another time we talked about comedy. We were talking about SNL, and you were like, "Yeah, I do this SNL podcast," and I was like, "Hell yeah!" And I got the message from Steve the other day, and I don't mean to brag, but I don't have a lot going on right now, as a lot of people don't. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm free on Sunday. Let's do this."
So yeah, so everybody knows. Let's get to know you SNL wise. What would you say is like a favorite sketch of yours in the history of SNL that you can think of?
Ah, man, like I don't really have necessarily like a favorite sketch. I kind of got like favorite like recurring hosts. There's certain hosts that I just really like that when they bring their energy. And I even was talking to Catherine for a second about it. Just generally, I'm always excited when an original cast member comes back to host, like as opposed to someone because they don't have anything to promote, especially when they don't have anything to promote. Like I know he's got MacGruber, which is great, but like I just love when like they just bring in someone like that has been on the show for years, so the chemistry is there already, and they just know the flow of the show and they know what like Lauren wants and what the audience expects, and it just gives them free reign to do what they want. Like we talked a bit about like how John Mulaney was able to do his lobster sketch because he pitched it and it didn't get passed, and then he was able to do it, and I'm like so blessed that we got to see that crazy friggin' thing, and it's because he finally got the chance to like take the reins. So it's really exciting to me. I don't necessarily have a favorite sketch, but it's like it's just when my favorite thing ever is when an original cast member gets to host, and that's always a good time. I love that.
All right. So what do you guys think? We're gonna keep him on?
I think he can stay. Yeah.
Yes.
You passed the test.
Passed the test.
Steve sent me your name, and I like looked at your Instagram and saw like just for laughs, Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Network. And I was like, okay, he's qualified. He's a legit comedian. So I'm really excited to see like what you have to say. We don't always have a lot of like stand-ups on the podcast, so it's exciting to see sort of that perspective and how you're gonna see these sketches. So let's get into it.
MacGruber, he did a lot of reading and he's got a new outlook. MacGruber, he realized there was more than just one side to this issue. MacGruber, he's following the science now. MacGruber.
Only MacGruber can see through the lies of this pandemic, with cameos from again Kristen Wiig and Ryan Felipe. Now, Charlotte, your plea to be on the episode included how much of a MacGruber stan you are. So was this alt-right edition welcome?
I don't know. It was like sad, but also hilarious. Okay, so I just want to preface. I texted Catherine this because I love the MacGruber sketches. And whenever I'm having a bad day or feeling sad, they're just like one of those sketches that I can go to that are so goofy that I know I'll feel better. And my favorite ones are with Charles Barkley and when MacGruber's going through racism training.
Oh, so, yes.
Yeah. So like literally to this day, my now fiance will just, if I'm having a bad day, like play the sketches for me and know that I'll feel better. Or if he just says Mo better, it's like I know we both know that we're talking about the MacGruber sketch and then we put it on. So I was so happy to see, obviously, that this is going to happen. And then when I saw Kristen Wiig, I thought, oh my God, they're doing like the OG MacGruber. Okay. So first of all, what I loved was that they stuck to the regular setup and delivery. And then I do think, even though I was sort of sad, it did make sense for MacGruber to go to the alt-right thing. I mean, it really did make
too
sense.
Much sense.
It did. It made sense. And honestly, it was funny. And then in true MacGruber fashion, I still loved him. It's like, he just sort of got a little detour and it was hilarious and smart. Bless his heart. I will say what brought me out was a little bit of Ryan Phillippe. Did anybody else feel this way? I mean,
yeah,
he was so low energy.
Because I was like, congrats to them two for reprising the characters and Ryan for being there.
Just standing. Like, I was like, dude, I don't even.
And I get in the show, like,
I know
in the movie, like, like, I get him playing like the straight man to everything. Like, he's very he's a very reactive character. Like, he's the audience reaction to the absurdness. But like, because like Kristen Wiig is also doing that, but also still playing a character, right? Like, it just seemed very like, it just kind of felt like a weird.
I think for something as short as the sketches, like it just felt like there wasn't a need for him.
Right.
He didn't add.
I agree,
anything.
but I think it's because it's also Peacock and they want to promote like the MacGruber series. They got like the whole cast there.
I
and
know.
Like it's like all in brand stuff.
I know why he's there. I'm just saying. I did not appreciate him there.
I understand everything that's happening and I don't care for it.
Yeah. Altogether, I thought this went the full length. I love that they heightened all the way to the shaman guy from the January 6th riots. That was the way to go. This was the way to do MacGruber. I also think they could have even gone a step further with more unsavory jokes, but I'm sure they couldn't. And I also think it was hilarious just shoving the medication in his mouth and just naming all of the different conspiracies, because in a way they didn't even need to go more extreme because all of the conspiracy theories are so extreme in himself. So in a way that was like the brilliance of the comedy, is that he just was naming exactly what QAnon believers believe. So props. Honestly, I thought this was a really smart take on MacGruber and I enjoyed it and laughed, even if I was slightly sad that MacGruber went to the Q side. So anyway, thank you for giving me this moment to talk about MacGruber.
You're welcome. You can leave
amazing.
now.
Like, I'm out. I didn't watch the rest, so
This is a very ruthless podcast.
Ryan, were you happy to see MacGruber?
I'm always happy to see MacGruber. MacGruber's it's a kind of comedy we don't even see as much anymore. Like there was this era of SNL where there was just like everyone had like their character brought out into like a big franchise or like a character type. Like remember like Austin Powers and like I think Will Ferrell, like he had like everything that was the name of the character and the name of the movie. So like it's just so absurd and just so fun to watch. And just the way he just slips back into character after like he's been doing this character for so long, like with the shows, the movie, and the way he comes back and like it's weird. It's just like it's somehow like something with him physically, his face, like him getting older but still playing it still works so well. If anything, it gets better.
Yeah.
I also had the weird, Charlotte, I'm with you there that it felt so weird seeing a character you like be like the alt-right, like, conspiracy. But like, I think it continues a weird tradition of like these 80s stars that like were like, had shows like that were like, and now they're like alt-right, like friggin' super right, like anti-vax, like, remember there's like a list that's like, I saw a list recently that was like all these people who had these 80s shows and they're all like super like Trump supporters stuff. So like I found that kind of like it still fit in the world of making fun of these 80s tropes of just like them becoming those people. It just sucks because we just actually love MacGruber.
Yeah.
And it's like, I did find it a little jarring, but it worked because it's like he's still a big dum-dum. And I think what made it work so well was when they would cut back and the voiceover would be like, he went down a hole on the internet. And it's just him like looking at it and he comes back. And the heightening was really good because I thought the first beat was like okay. Like it was like, okay, we've got MacGruber back. The jokes are okay. Like it was pretty funny. But then the heightening got better and better, especially at the end when he was, like you said, the like the full getup of the guy at the insurrection, like the makeup and stuff like that. And like when he's like, give me all America's like hopes and dreams or whatever, and like there's nothing there. It's like, and then that's right, yeah, that's what I thought. like
And the fact that they had callbacks to the worms. Little Will Forte impression going, by the way.
Thank you.
Just need the arms. And
but like I just like they even had callbacks to the worms in the third one. Like I just felt like they were just having the most, and just being in that writer's room would have been so fun because like it's him coming back to do a character he loves, and like they all know that character so well. So some of the lines, like I always think MacGruber's best when he's doing the little soft throwaway lines when he's like putting it down really low, and he's just like like those like because it just he's the naive idiot who thinks he's smart, which is what's always really fun. And it's done really. And Kristen Wiig just bringing it home too is just perfect.
And Ryan Phillippe just standing there. Who said
that? Steve, anything else to note on MacGruber?
The thing about MacGruber is that, of course he became an anti-vaxxer. Of course. Like he is, the whole joke is that he does not respond appropriately to danger. So, what is that exactly? That's an anti-vaxxer right there. I basically just described it. So he didn't stand a chance. Now, Charlotte, I think I know what's going on with Ryan Phillippe and why he just looks like he's standing there. He's playing the role that's usually meant for the host. I mean, this is a sketch that came from when Will Forte was a cast member. So now he's taking up the host duty that usually was somebody else to fill in this kind of easy to fill role. And that's why we saw the Charles Barkley type of hosts take this role, because it's just something to give them screen time in. But when you are trying to like retrofit this new canon, this new expanded MacGruber into its old format, it just it doesn't work very well. It definitely doesn't do much service to Ryan Phillippe. At least give him another Angelo type cameo later on in the night, just to merit his showing up to film some stuff for SNL. That would have been nice to see, but yeah.
The thing that I mean, like you all said, of course he's anti-vax. This all makes sense. It heightened really well. The thing that I love the most about MacGruber, I think, is that it's basically a runner on SNL. There's always 3 iterations of it. What else is there on SNL that does that? Like they don't. they don't do a lot of stuff like that you see in more like traditional like sketch shows that like, you know, like a live like black box theater. There's a lot of interstitials and runners. And so I I kind of wish they would do stuff like this more. And I understand there's a million and one confines to just how the show is put on and the production of it that makes it really difficult to do those things. But I think it's so fun and refreshing to see it with something like MacGruber, and you know, maybe it could be a reminder for like some of the writers that are here now to be like, oh yeah, we can maybe try a new thing that's like this. I
Yeah.
think that could be really fun to see. But yeah, let's keep going. All this woman wants for her birthday is an adventure with experienced third Geddon. Steve, what'd you think of this one?
Oh my. Geddon, what a character. And
my.
it's a collaborative effort. That's my main takeaway here. Every department of SNL came together to make the most repulsive douchebag known to man, from hairstyle to costume to just general sensibilities as a human being. This is this is just a beautiful walking train wreck of a man. And yeah, if you were to make this agreement with your significant other, uh, you know, this is the last person you would want to show up, you know?
Right.
And and Will sells this so well. He's a performer that's willing to commit and milk a moment. That bed was probably 2 shakes away from falling apart because
Yeah.
he just reveled in that bed testing moment. And yeah, this is exactly where I like to see Mikey. This is the kind of torture that I enjoy seeing Mikey put through. He's done it as Matt Shet and a countless myriad of other characters. This is yeah, everybody's on their A game here.
Similar thought I had was like the biggest thing of note in this was that it's what makes Will Forte great is, you know, he shoved that bed around just a little bit longer than most people would have, and it made it
Yeah.
that much funnier. He's not afraid to milk that moment. That's exactly like why Will Forte was the perfect host for this sketch. Ryan, was it a win for you?
It was a win. I don't think it was the strongest sketch of the night. I found it had more peaks and
Mhm.
valleys. Like, it felt like some of the jokes were just a little like, because it's kind of the same beat over and over again. Like, we get that this guy's gross, so it's hard to heighten
Mhm.
something like that when just right off the like it starts so strong with the bed. Like, the bed thing was the first beat. I thought that was one of the funniest beats of the whole thing because like everyone's saying it just
Right.
lasted so long. And so like, and I think I disagree with Steve a little bit. I feel like the ending just kind of just was a little bit flat for me because you can tell this is one of those sketches where like the writers were just writing out all these jokes and we didn't really have an ending. It just kind of
Mhm.
ends, which is one of my biggest issues with not Saturday Night, but just sketch comedy in general. When a sketch just kind of ends and it doesn't have like the big pop
Yep.
at the end that brings it all together. You know, like but it was still really strong as another showcaseable for it. Mikey Day is the unsung hero in these sketches. I find he's like so good at playing exasperated, flustered straight man. Just like, wow, okay, so this is great. They're like he's just the perfect foil right here. Like him and Amy did great tonight. Like being against Will, like being with Will and having to play against the characters that he's playing. And Heidi was fantastic. She's so good at those, like just like, you know, when she does the her character on the desk, the girl who's like, oh my god, like do you like me?
Bailey Gizmo.
Like she's just so good at playing these like naive, like just like it's like, you know, she just thinks it's gonna be okay that they're gonna have this threesome with this guy and it's what she wants, and like she's like kind of just making everyone think it's gonna be good. When Mikey puts the mask on, when he's taking the pillow and hits him with the pillow, like Mikey's just so good at being like, this is
You're gonna
ridiculous.
hit me with my own life.
Yeah, that was a great line, like great, perfect delivery of just so matter of fact. Like I want to see Mikey Day in more movies where he's playing like, you know, like the you know, the dickheaded boyfriend or something that's just so mad at everything that's going on. Like I wish Mikey Day had more of like a film career in that because I just think he'd be so good. Like think about like the timing's bad, but it's like imagine like Mikey Day's character having to deal with like Will Ferrell characters being so obnoxious and like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like in Talladega Nights or something. Like I just think Mikey Day's so funny when he plays that straight guy, just like what the hell like is going on. So like that was the perfect character to be paired up with him. And yeah, Will Forte is great. Just not the strongest one for me because I just felt like it was a similar beat over and over again. Like it's hard to heighten something that's so crazy off the top. So it just kind of feels like we're just here the whole time, which is a good place to be. It's fun, but like, you know, at least with the MacGruber ones, it just kept getting bigger and bigger, right? And even like the sketch with the kids show, like it just kept getting meaner and meaner. This was just flat out, this guy's gross for 3 minutes, which is fun, but it just didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, it's really hard when your crazy character of the sketch is so immediately identifiable. Like he walks in wearing that. It's hard to progress from there. Like I think that's something that like my sketch 201 teacher went on about for a long time one day randomly. Like you can't always have them immediately walk in and be like, oh, that's the character of the sketch. Like if you can reveal it in some way, that can be a little more fun and give you more room to go. It's like if he had a coat on and then, you know, at some point took it off and then he was wearing that stupid shirt, you know?
Yeah. Or I even think the bed beat with hitting the bed could have been the last beat to me, like because it was just so strong. Like the drinks were good, the Cialis was good, but like I feel like it was just an ordering issue. But like, and again, what am I saying? I don't even work for SNL. Everything's great. But it's just like it was just not the strongest one for me, and a great night for.
Yeah, I always say we have a very privileged position of like critiquing a finished product. But I do think.
Oh, none of us should be critiquing any of this. None of us have.
Okay, see you guys.
We should not be doing this, but it's so fun.
I do think while you're right, like it didn't necessarily like keep progressing in like intensity. I do think they found like really good details to put in with like we had everything you asked with the 32 Powerades, you know. So I liked the details they
the
found.
Tarp was fun.
Yeah, mop off my back. And,
I have that tarp.
Yeah. Don't even look at me and gives them the mask is really fun.
Charlotte, do you agree with the boys?
Yeah, I don't have anything new to add. We definitely covered everything. I thought this was really funny. I would agree maybe the ordering, but I don't know. I still really did love it. And I did want to give a shout out to costume and makeup because as soon as he walked in, I was dying laughing. And I felt like every detail of that costume, like how far unbuttoned it was, like the choice in shirt, it almost felt like they sort of broadened him out a little, like there were shoulder pads. I mean, it was just hilarious. And I loved the premise of it. So
I didn't
really
even notice
enjoyed
the
this
necklace until the second time I watched it. Yeah. Like a butcher knife.
Yeah, the butcher knife
I didn't even see
pendant.
the butcher knife. Oh my god.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh, just everything. Like
Awesome. So things to like here, maybe not the strongest, but a good time nonetheless. Let's keep going to where the guy who just bought a boat has a blipper from another skipper, and he meets the guy who just bought a ferry. Charlotte, I think it was the last time you were on, maybe a couple times ago, where the guy who just bought a boat got cut and you were devastated we didn't get to talk about it. So now is your chance. What did you think of this outing?
Wow. Oh, yes. Another classic. Honestly, I love that they brought him back out. I thought the writing was even stronger than usual with his puns and everything. And they took it to a new place. It wasn't tired. They brought in Pete Davidson, who was so funny. They included Jost. And it just felt like this big party. And the writing was better than ever. The deliveries were better than ever. I freaking loved it. Like, how much did you want to just like get up on stage with them and hang out? Like, it was so funny. It was the best way. Ryan, you mentioned this earlier, like the best way to bring up what I had just read also, that they had bought this Staten Island ferry that's retired. And it was the funniest way to address it because what they could have done is just brought out Pete Davidson to do like an individual bit and include Jost with it, which I sort of expected they would do. But the fact that they brought out Guy with the Boat obviously warmed my heart and just made it hilarious. And yeah, I mean, it was a huge win for me. Huge win.
Yeah. Ryan, were you a fan?
I huge fan. And here's the thing is like, yeah, I mentioned a bit earlier and I was reading about the boat news, so I was like, this is perfect pairing, right? Like, you got to bring out Guy who bought a boat. You literally have a character about Guy who's a douchebag for buying boat, two characters. And like Pete Davidson's so hot right now with like all of his like all of his dating life, and he's been really in the zeitgeist the past 2 years as like, you know, bigger presence in social media and in pop culture, that like him coming on could have like taken away and made him the draw of the sketch of like about him, you know, having the beer and like and Joseph. But like I thought Alex Moffat really friggin' brought it. Like he's like the character's always been really great. And like it's always been fun to watch. And again, it's kind of like the same joke over and over, but that's what the fun beat of it is. But he didn't let those two overshadow his character. Like he was making them both crack up, which I think is so
Yeah.
fun to watch. And like
Yeah.
and he just like brought in the lines were sharp as ever and like and it just added a whole new layer to them also being like welcome to the team. Like it was
Yeah.
like it just was something. And I think Alex Moffat has the strongest desk characters. Like when he plays Eric Trump, I think it's the funniest thing that he just plays him as this big dum dum that just repeats what his brother says, like he's like a child. And I think like, and Alex Moffat's so bad. I feel like I don't really see him in as many sketches. I just see him as characters
Yeah.
for the desk bits. And I just wish Moffat was in more stuff. Like I think Moffat's so funny. I think he's so funny when he plays those big dumb brash characters and like commits to it. And it's just it was a perfect sketch for that character.
Yeah, Alex Moffat is amazing, and I do feel like he is truly underutilized.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Agree.
Steve, would you like to buy a fairy with me?
I will.
Did you like the update feature?
I did. It was interesting, and I feel stupid because I just never made the connection. Like I knew the news about the ferry. The guy who just bought a boat comes on, and I'm like, oh, cool. They just had him on. They were inspired for some reason. And then he mentions it. I'm like, oh, the connection. I get it now. So that was really brilliant. And I got to give him props for doing something challenging because you're taking Pete and Colin, who already have a rapport on this very segment, on this very show, and you're going to just plop a pre-established character in the middle of it and try to make it work without making it confusing or weird. And I think it did work. Maybe we can thank Pete's immature sense of humor for laughing at all the penis and vagina jokes. But
we all are. Let's be real.
We are all laughing at these jokes.
I think mine is like a tuna can might be my favorite all-time guy who just bought a boat penis reference.
Or Pete's reaction to it. You know,
the tuna can thing was super funny. That was super
my
great.
God, I was dying.
Yeah, I feel like Pete's laughter made me reconsider the joke and actually visualize like the hockey puck dimensions of it. And yeah,
I was really glad that they saw this. Obviously, I saw the news. It seemed like a very logical choice. I saw like a few people already talking about it on like Twitter and Reddit that they needed to do this. So I was glad to see it. The first time I watched it, I felt annoyed about Pete breaking the whole time. The second time I watched it, I was like, okay, no, you're right. That added to it. It made it so much more fun for Alex to try to continue to get those laughs from them, and it allowed him to just like really like own and like just go even deeper into character in a way that like we haven't gotten to see with him before. So I think ultimately it did enhance the piece. Even though I didn't like it the first time. Just I was feeling grumpy, I guess.
but at the end of the day,
it was a win. So if you want to see our full sketch by sketch review, search for SNL Afterparty on Patreon or subscribestar.com. Let's talk about these overall thoughts and ratings. Let's breeze through them real quick here. It's been a long episode. Let's talk up first. Moment of the night. Ryan, what's your moment?
Ooh, it's up there. I would have to say we bought a boat guy with them and buying the boat. Like I thought Alex Moffat was just on point as that character. It's a tight tie with Sarah Sherman and roasting of Colin Jost. Those are neck and neck for me.
Wait, okay, so if you had to pick like a specific moment, like one joke.
Catherine, don't do this to me, God.
You have one purpose on the show, Ryan.
Oh man. The moment for me was Alex Moffat just like owning that bit and like and not letting Colin and Pete take over because it was because of them owning the that's for me is my moment of the night for sure.
Fair enough. Charlotte, what's yours?
Similar. Hope it's okay. I was gonna say that exact moment where Pete broke during the guy that bought a boat because I did love just seeing him break down at how funny Alex Moffat was being, and just this,
100%. Yeah.
all of that. Yeah.
Steve?
I think it's Kate's line. I've been reading rats all these years, or I've been reading a rat a week.
That's pretty good.
That's a good
call.
one.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the absurdity of being so gullible that you could still like somehow believe that lie that's so obviously in your face, not the truth. Yeah, just brilliant.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Willem Dafoe showing up in the monologue, like just that beat of the monologue where Lauren's like, "Sorry, there's been a mistake," and then Willem Dafoe was game to show up a week early to do the quick cameo. Like that, that was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. Up next is best sketch. Ryan, what's your best sketch? I think I know what it's gonna be, but
Clancy T. But am I going to say Bachelorette and Jackie Snad back together singing their song about spaceships, toddlers, Maltese cars, and jars of beer? Hell yeah. Best sketch of the night. Every other opinion's wrong. This was the best.
Fair enough. Charlotte, what's yours?
I'm going MacGruber.
Wow.
Loved it.
After I just said that I had the right opinion. Wow.
Wow, I don't hate Will Forte and the classic cinematic universe that is MacGruber. So obviously MacGruber. They took it to an unexpected place that ended up being perfect, and I still loved them. And I'm happy,
the
except for Ryan
paragraph
Phillippe.
text that I received from Charlotte earlier this week about her love for MacGruber really made it to where there was no question before this ever aired that her best sketch was going to be MacGruber.
And for that, we thank you.
Steve, what is your best sketch?
I'm doubling up with Ryan, Clancy T. Bachelorette, and Jackie Snad. Singing about tea cars and toddlers and jugs of beer.
Way to be on the right side of history, Steve.
It merits a slow clap. I'm happy to cross the floor and enjoy the Ryan side.
Well, I'm going to double up with Charlotte and say MacGruber.
Whoa!
Wow!
What an upset!
Come on in.
Wow!
Water's fine.
I think they took a classic, they enhanced it, they heightened it beautifully. I think it was perfect.
So how do we unsubscribe to this podcast? Just out of curiosity.
I'm not telling you.
I'm
You
not
said
telling you.
$10 to our Patreon.
It's
by
like an
paying more
AT&T.
money on Patreon, you actually get less content. Is how it works.
Yeah.
You have to pay
That's
to
canon.
get rid of us.
I'll look forward to my $100 a month.
I will. All right. Next category is MVP. Ryan, who's it going to?
MVP of the night. Damn. Oh man. Who did it? To me, MVP. I don't pick the host. I wouldn't pick the host for the MVP because they're the host of the show. Because I can.
Yeah, you can.
I think Will Forte is the MVP of the night. I know he's the host, but like I love that like he's back and he got to be a returning cast member doing his own thing and being able to just play in the sandbox that is SNL and a world he knows the best. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely allowed to give it to the host. Charlotte, who are you going to give it to?
Will Forte. I love him. And he did everything great.
Wow, Charlotte. Wow.
But you know why? Is because he went out there and he played such distinct characters. Like he really let his character chops shine. I mean, each person he played was so distinct. And that's a testament to the writers too, and like everybody just taking risks. And I was just so impressed. And he just got right back in there, and his charisma and even his monologue. You know, I'm usually kind of critical of the monologues. I really loved him on the monologue, and he was a true MVP.
Fair enough. Steve?
Yeah, you know it's going to be Will Forte. I mean, we don't shy away from handing MVP over to the host, especially when it is a seasoned cast member who's coming back to just do what got them hired to do that job for years. Uh, it's a more pure SNL when that happens. It's not like, hey, we gotta help promote the Kardashian brand by having Kim on and putting her in a funny wig. No, this is not trying to make somebody likable. This is not trying to do a PR move for anyone. It's just making a good SNL show. He made a good point. We've been waiting a long time to see this happen. And Will Forte, of all the people he listed in his monologue, he was the first of those people to leave the show. And anyone who's been a fan of him, I was hoping Nebraska would be the movie to bring him there. He's had a couple of big projects, and yep, I guess it just took MacGruber to bring him back, and I'm glad it did.
It took an NBC owned property to bring him back.
Yeah, how surprising, right?
No, I'm gonna make it unanimous. I'm gonna give it to Forte too. I think, some hosts are more present
Forte.
than other hosts. So it's not always obvious to give it to the host. But Will Forte came, and everything he did was things that only he could do, or only he could do as well as he did. Like like the threesome character is the great example. Like no one else could have played that like he did. Everyone else would have stopped shaking the bed 5 seconds sooner. And so he just really owned every single thing he was in, and he was the best part of everything he was in. So yeah, I think Will Forte is the clear MVP. Obviously, it's unanimous. So let's talk the big one on a scale of classic, great, decent, weak, or train wreck. Ryan, how would you rate this episode?
I think it was a pretty great episode. I think it was really, really great to have Will Forte back. I don't think it's necessarily a classic per se. Like, I don't think there's going to be enough for me to think about this episode 10 years from now, but it is always refreshing to see a cast member come back and be able to play in the sandbox and get to do whatever the hell they want and lean into their strengths. And I think Will's friggin' hilarious. And yeah, great episode. Really fun.
Fair enough. Charlotte?
Big controversial take from Ryan Dillon.
Ryan coming in hot. I mean this was as close to classic as ever though. I will say like this, I don't know if I'm full classic, but I'm great, very close to, I'm like great and a half. Like this was really good. I think because we saw the joy and brought back some classics. So it's nearly classic, but I don't know. There were some that just maybe it should be classic.
It's okay.
I'm
If
great and
you
a half.
feel that in your heart of hearts.
I don't know. What do you think?
It doesn't matter what I think. It's about your opinion. We'll circle back to you. All right. I will allow you to mull it over for a moment. Steve, what are you going?
I'll give it a great. As much as I'd love to say classic, I don't know if this is really like a momentous occurrence. It's it's just eventually everyone's day to host SNL. They're one that deserves it.
Well, I can't
Sometimes
wait
it
for my
takes
turn.
Yeah, sometimes it takes longer than it should. Sometimes it's Betty White or Adam Sandler doing it later in their careers. Um, and yeah, sometimes it takes seeing a whole lot of your peers from your own era do it before you. And yeah, it didn't feel like anything other than just a good SNL outing. I don't feel like I was witnessing anything historical. Um, it was certainly full of nostalgia and member berries, and made me, think of some great moments from the history of the show. This will stand on its own as a, a great episode. And yeah, I just can't talk myself into giving it any higher.
I can see why there would be a feeling to go towards classic, because there's a lot of the ingredients are here, right? Like kind of underdog former cast member that's like beloved, brought back some classic sketches, brought some cameos with him, like really good performances from our new team. But ultimately I don't in my opinion it didn't get there. I think one reason why is there weren't that many sketches. Like I feel like and I haven't actually done the math to say this is factual, but it did seem like there were like less sketches in this episode than there normally are. Perhaps because a few of these were longer. Weekend Update was really long. But like I think everything we did get was good. There wasn't really anything that I hated. Weekend Update was strong. Like all three characters were great. The monologue was probably my favorite of the season. So it was all good stuff. I'm gonna give it a great, but I don't think it quite got to classic for me. Charlotte, where are you gonna go?
All
now?
right. I think
Now that we've beaten you down.
No, but I do. I think you all raised really good points, and I think about like the rewatch factor, and I think about all of the factors that you both brought up, and I would agree. I think it's closer to great than classic.
Yeah,
and
we
perhaps
raised really good
some
points.
classic sketches, but not an overall classic episode.
Yeah. There we go. There we have it. Really great episode. Fabulous to see Will Forte back. Great to see MacGruber. Fun seeing Kristen. All good stuff. And great seeing you all. Thank you all for being here. Charlotte, I'm so glad you came because I haven't got to see you in a while. You're in Florida. Tell the people what you're doing in Florida.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm so happy to be here. I know I sort of elbowed my way in, and I was so happy to talk about Will Forte. And yes, I'm down in Florida. I'm directing God of Carnage, the play by Yasmin Ariza, translated by Christopher Hampton. And if any of you listeners are down in South Florida and want to come check it out, we open February 4th through February 13th at Lake Worth Playhouse, which is sort of near Delray, Palm Beach, anywhere in sort of Palm Beach County, Broward County area. You're in driving distance, so would love to catch you there. You can visit lakeworthplayhouse.org to get tickets. Thank you.
Woo!
And also, woo! And
Very
Catherine will also
exciting.
mention our sketch show coming up.
Yeah, we got the sketch team I direct at the Laugh Index Theater, starring Charlotte as a writer and performer. We have a show on Wednesday at 8. You can catch it on the Laugh Index Theater YouTube page or head to litcomedy.com. It's gonna be a good one. I'm really, really excited about it. And Ryan, it was so lovely to meet you. It was so great to have you here. I think you had wonderful, great insights on things. I think you did a great job. You can come back any time. And tell the people where to find
I'd
you.
love
What do you
to.
have going on?
First, I want to say thank you so much for having me. You guys are all wonderful, and this was super, super fun. I love SNL, and I'm a big comedy nerd, and I just love talking about comedy. So this is really great. You can follow me at Miley Cyrus. That's my handle, and you'll find all of my upcoming shows there.
Big arena tour coming up.
DM me for a great peach cobbler recipe that I may offer you. At the Ryan Dillon and everything. If you Google Ryan Dillon comedy, you'll find stuff. But if you go to my Instagram, you'll see like I post like video. I'm going to be posting a lot of stand-up clips from a tour I just did that I'm editing right now, and I'm working on another album. So Ryan Dillon, comedian. Just if you want to follow me, you'll follow me on Twitter, and you'll find it there. And or don't live your best life. Who gives? We're all going to die in 100 years. Do whatever you want. Whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great
Frigate.
plug. You can tell how Ryan feels about himself and takes it so seriously. All right, well, this was a fun one, but that is a wrap. Thanks to Ryan Dillon, Charlotte O'Trimba, and Steve Finn. And thanks as well to our most generous patrons, Sam Bowers, Neil Weinstein, Justin Gardner, Grace Kogan, and Brian Clark. If you're enjoying our show, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever better podcasts can be found. Your subscription helps us grow, and your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back in 1 week when SNL returns with host Willem Dafoe and musical guest Katy Perry. But until then, this has been episode number 152 of the Saturday Night Live Afterparty podcast. I'm Catherine Coleman. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.